Hi everyone, I'm Suzanne, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the books that I am reading for the summer for my evening routine. Now, my evening routine is all about winding down with a nice cup of tea or a cold drink and settling down with some books that I really want to make sure I read in a year. Those obviously change as I finish the ones currently in rotation. Now, these are the ones I've chosen for the summer, and because I am reading 3 and I'm only spending an hour on this evening routine, these will definitely last me for the month of July, and I'm thinking probably July and August, but we'll see. And I'm going to share with you the order in which I read them and why. Now, the first one is by Joan Didion, and this is Where I Was From. And this is the description on the back: an arresting amalgam of memoir and historical timeline, exquisitely crafted, as subtle as the slow waking from a pleasant dream. In this book, the author Joan, tells her memoir kind of interspersed and with the background of what's happening in California during her lifetime. And it gets into the ethics and the railroad and, oh my gosh, everything. Railroads, aerospace, big government, the disjunction between its code of individualism and its fetish for prisons. Yeah, so she talks about many things. And the reason that I picked this first is, one, I can't wait to read it. It's one of my newer purchases. The other reason I picked it to go first is because every time I read her writing, it wakes me up and it gets me thinking and energized. I definitely want to put it as part of my evening reads because it just seems like I'm never getting to it, and this is one way to guarantee that I will get to it sooner than later. And part of my goals for 2021 has been to read one book a month by a female author, so like a memoir or a book of essays, and I have a couple to catch up on, so this will help me reach that goal as well. And again, number 1, get me all riled up, and then I'm going to move to a book that calms me down and helps me feel centered. And the next book is Awakening Wonder, Opening Your Child's Heart to the Beauty of Learning by Sally Clarkson. If you saw the video where I hauled books for parenting and homeschool, you've already seen this book, but I love Sally Clarkson, and she is writing about creating a beautiful, magical, loving learning environment for your children as they grow up. And I always feel much calmer and peaceful after I read her writing, and I feel inspired to create that kind of space in my home, which is what I want. So I thought this was a great in-between after reading Joan Didion and getting riled up about the world and things like that. Then I can bring it back to center and ground myself in this. And I thought it was a great one to go between the 3 books because this really holds my interest. So it'll help me transition from Joan Didion and then get me in the space ready to read this book, which is absolutely lovely. It was in one of my nature videos. It's one of the nature books I'm really happy to have picked up over the last couple months. I have found getting into this book a bit of a challenge. Once I'm in there and reading, I don't want to put it down. But to get into it sometimes has been a challenge to get that peaceful inside and to kind of go along for the ride. It's that type of book. I need to be in the mood for it, and I do not think I could pick this up immediately after finishing reading something with Joan Didion's writing style. So we'll use this as a great in-between, and then we'll move on to this. And this is Penelope Lively is the author, and this is Life in the Garden. And Penelope Lively writes, and no, we're not related, not that I know of. Anyway, Penelope writes a lot about literature as well as gardening, and this is full of both. So she really uses her garden to talk about literature and vice versa, and I love that premise, and what I've read so far I've thoroughly enjoyed, and I look forward to reading more. And I wanted to put it in the evening reads now because I bought this specifically to read this spring and this summer, and that's what I intend to do. Those are my 3 evening reads, And I usually take about an hour to do this, and then it gets me settled in, and then I move into whatever fiction that I happen to be reading at the time. And I end my night with a fiction book. And if you're interested in what type of fiction I read, definitely see the playlist for my wrap-ups. And you can get a feel of the kind of books that I am reading these days. I would love to know if you've read any of these books and what you thought, or if you have an evening routine and books that you like to read in the evening. Please leave them in the comments below. I would love to know. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe to see more like it. And I will see you soon with another bookish video.